Honorable members, I've taken note, but it's now time for me to invite the majority leader, the leader of the House, to have a say.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words in response to the statement on the state of the nation delivered by His Excellency the President. Mr. Speaker, this is the man who 1997 entered the Chamber of Parliament during the second Parliament of Advocacy. Hansa testifies of his great work in the chamber of this House. Then, as students, we sat at the gallery to observe and to take inspiration from him. Mr. Speaker, through resilience, through firmness of conviction, he tried over and over. Today, he has fulfilled a constitutional obligation to boldly deliver for Hansa his records in office for the 8 years. Mr. Speaker, it may be that for some political expedience, we may not appreciate history. In its fair judgment, will state that there came an Akufo-Addo whose record in the educational sector of our country was unmatched and unequaled. Mr. Speaker, this is a man,
please.
Mr. Speaker, he has a record he's leaving us with. Mr. Speaker, the Agenda 111, a very armed sector, and to provide for the communities, Mr. Speaker, which is also unmatched, is there for all of us to see. That they have what around us, and by virtue of my being a member of the ECOWAS Parliament, I am able to say on authority the challenges our West African neighbors face in terms of security. This country is safe and secure, and it is a haven for many West Africans. Mr. President, your country is proud of you. Democracy has experienced its best under your leadership. Today, we are being told that there is a new hope. That's no problem. It is supposed to be so. But soon, we will see the true colors of the umbrella. Yeah. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to say to my colleagues that you are yet to take over. We would be watching you for the next 4 years. And if indeed this is a government that came into office and faced major challenge which confronted the world all over, but that in spite of the COVID, all government sector workers were paid. This is a government that kept the lights on. This is a government that ensured that over 5.7 million Ghanaians had access to education. And Mr. Speaker, I would want to relate to this issue of free SHS. It took the grace of God for me to complete secondary education because my mom could not afford, my stepdad could not afford. It took the grace of God. And I know there were many Ghanaians we know in our communities. Today, all those who could not get free SHS benefited from it when Akufo-Addo assumed office. Mr. Speaker, TVET was also implemented for those who are placed at the lowest ebb of fortune's wheel to also get advantage of getting technical education. This is it. This is the record that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is leaving us with. Mr. Speaker, posterity will be the utmost judge. And I repeat, soon and very soon, the Ghanaian people will see the true colors of this umbrella. I rest my case. Thank you, Mr.
Honorable members, please, let's be guided by the lessons of the wise saying that you understand the full import of this wise saying. With this, honorable members, once again, let me thank all of you for creating a conducive environment. The President of the Republic of Ghana and the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We will now proceed to do what is expected of us, and that is to adjourn the sitting for today. Honorable members, the House stands adjourned till tomorrow. To come for us to do something tomorrow. But if you say you are available only on Monday, you prefer tomorrow. Monday. Honorable members, I get the sense of the House and will accordingly adjourn to Monday at 10 in the forenoon. The House is accordingly adjourned.
Tomorrow, we're going to be hearing headlines indicating that the president said that Ghana is not broke, as some will want to put it. He's been talking extensively about the free senior high school. He says that some 5.7 million students have benefited from the free senior high school policy that he introduced in the early stages of his government. He's been talking about an improvement in the WASSCE results comparatively to what he inherited in 2016 when he became president. He's also been talking about Dumsor, the fact that he is leaving office with the lights on. He spoke about the fact that he is, the incoming government is also recording, and despite that, he's managed to keep the lights on. So the President's Excellency, I see him having some hearty conversations with members, joined the second out of this particular place, petroleum, under the Eswa Mahama administration there. So pictures from the floor of Parliament, Dr. Baumia, they're also exchanging pleasantries with Honorable Rashid Pelpo there. As I said, anytime soon, the President will be exiting Parliament. So His Excellency started his address by commiserating with the victims of the Kantamanto fire outbreak. It says that the situation will be assessed to Dagbon. That long-standing conflict that plagued the people of Dagbon. He says that together with the Santino,
we witnessed in previous State of the Nation addresses. That's also a good. That's also a good.
It's not broke. He's been referring to it's not broke. He's been referring to our foreign reserves, $8 billion. He's also been reserves, $8 billion. He's also been talking about the growth we've seen, which he acknowledges. He says that the figure has trended down from 54% somewhere in 2022. Now we're doing 23%, even though it's way off the target of government of 15%. I mean, he's acknowledged that. He's also been talking about the fact that let me talk to Mr. Emmanuel Akwete, who is he lives us. Good afternoon to you, sir. What will he lives us? Good afternoon to you, sir. What will you say are your impressions about the president's statement?
By the House.
Right. So what were the key highlights for you?
I think for me the key highlight, that's why I said it's well balanced. He told where progress had been made that could be built on by the incoming government. He also admitted the challenges, and I think that in putting this together in a way that wasn't so partisan, really exhibited his role as it's a good way of saying goodbye all.
Before I let you go, he said emphatically that Ghana is not broke. Before I let you go, he said emphatically that Ghana is not broke. I mean, you are a statesman and you know the state of play. Will you agree with him?
Well, I think in November last year when Ghana appeared broke, he made that statement and how he struggled to resolve the issues. If at the end of the day, the situation has been turned around and you compare it to the previous year, then I think that they've worked hard. It's good to know that Ghana is not broke because it says the economy has recovered and is recovering strongly. And in that case, I think that he should leave office so that the new government can take it to the next level. So it's a good message to the nation. I do not think that he has statistics to back what he was saying. And I believe that it's not the end of the story, but the foundation on which the new government that the people have chosen will build.
Right. You also talk about how the fight against Galamsey affected the parliamentary fortunes of his party in the 2020 elections. That should be a little bit partisan.
Well, I think he's open up to that. And probably that also contributed immensely to the heavy loss in the elections. But he's leaving and he's admitted to certain things, but he's also said, look, we've recovered. It doesn't mean we do not have any more problems, but it's a foundation, it's the interest of every Ghanaian. And I think what they didn't do well, the challenge is now for the new government to take it forward.
Thank you very much. Mr. Emmanuel Akwete is with IDEC there. So we're still here in Parliament. The President, not too long ago, who sat through and listened to the President. The President has been saying that food prices have started to decline, you know, giving facts and figures. So at this point, we would hand over to you in the studio whilst we begin to also get some other interactions and reactions from the parliamentarians. Over to you.
All right, thank you very much to Parliament and in Parliament some minutes ago, touching on various sectors and the progress that he has made under his administration for the past 8 years. And one key thing that he said was that Ghana is not broke, talking about the reserve that he left behind and also the growth rate to 7.2% and the projection of about 6.3% for the end of this particular year. And that's from the members of Parliament and other officials who were present as in Akufo-Addo. And like stated earlier, the whole transition period, 11 p.m., the new Parliament will be sworn in. That's the 9th Parliament, and then a new Speaker will be elected. As to whether the Speaker will be maintained or not, we're yet to see a new exact who will be sworn in as the next president of this beautiful country of ours, Mother Ghana. Our guest is still here with us, Dr. Joshua Zato, who's a senior lecturer, Department of Political Science, University of Ghana, and he's also a political and policy analyst. Doc, thanks for your patience. I'm so grateful for it.
Thank you.
Your general thoughts about the whole presentation?
Oh, thank you. As I said, this is beautiful. Any Ghanaian, we have a look at the house. It's a normal, regular partisan house, but people very respectful, well controlled. And because they have been doing this. It's not new to them. And even sometimes we realize they are also deepening their traditions. Now, we saw a president who can throw a jab and who can take one. And we've seen his vintage Akufo-Addo. He was throwing jabs there, and he took one. I mean, the man,
he understands the whole political.
He understands it. And sometimes he even enjoys this back and forth, because sometimes you can see easily, I don't know the Ghanaians that. He also said, look, I came in darkness, but I'm leaving office. He's trying to provide some, for want of a better word, protections for the MPP going down. He's going to say, look, I made 2.5 billion or so energy debt, and I've left. He's basically saying that. And it's in terms of reserve, he says, look, I made growth rate, I made this abysmal, I'm giving you 6 points. So he's trying to say that, look, don't let, and this is the partisan thing. He's trying to signal to his party. Don't let anybody deceive you otherwise that we didn't deliver. Don't let that be the case. And he made a point. He says, look, the stats can't be different. And that was a sharp rebuke to what both the speaker and the NDC is saying. Because if you are saying that you have your statistics, I have my statistics, that is not true. That's not how statistics work. Statistics don't work like that.
It should be one.
It should be one. And he said that the statistics can be there. And it's true that if it is 8 point, if you left me 6...
During the transition process, when both sides, the president and the president-elect, had to put together a team, and the team was actually inaugurated, you realize that the president talked about a growth rate of 7.2%, which he touched on again. But then when the president-elect also had his turn to speak, he said that, well, he can't confidently talk about that growth rate, but he can only talk much about it when they get into office and get to know exactly what's happening. So he wouldn't speak much about that, so he wouldn't hold on to that. Now, there are two narratives here. What the current president is saying and what could be said if the president-elect actually
something you must understand. Something has happened within the last 4 years. Everybody has come to trust the Ghana Statistical Service with their data, their statistics. If you watch carefully, that is why most of the NDC criticisms of the MPP has come from the Ghana Statistical Service itself. That is one office that we have not debased with our partisanship.
Yeah.
So nobody has questioned the data that is coming from that office so far. And they will tell us, part of the reason could be that they report within certain stipulated periods, and their reportage will come. But some of the data, and you see, in these days, it becomes difficult because of our economic laws and what we've passed to hide the data.
Okay.
Because if you don't get it from Bank of Ghana, you can get it from IMF. If you don't get it from IMF, you can get it from World Bank.
Let's quickly go back to Parliament. We'll join Maurice with some other interviews. We'll be right back.
The energy sector, the fact that he inherited a $2.5 billion, also talking about a $2.5 billion legacy debt. Exactly what happened?
So basically, if you look at the 2.5 billion that Her Excellency John Dramani Mahama is talking about, is the one that has been made available to us by the private sector. We've not based on know how much debt has been accrued, gas and other places. We don't know the total indebtedness. So this is one aspect. Two, yes, it is true that we had a $2.4 billion legacy debt that was accrued over a period of, say, from independence up to the time when John Mahama left. In 2015, we introduced what we call the Energy Sector Levy Act that was supposed to give us 5 years window to have some accrued ESLA bonds. I'll extend that for about 10 years now. So what the president was talking about, or the outgoing president was talking about, was not representative of what were the facts. And almost every facet of even the energy sector, he was lying. Go back and check the 2017 state, first budget that was presented, 83 point something, about 3 years ago. Because they've not been able to do that, you know what he did? He changed that particular figure, which his own finance minister gave as 83 point something, to 79. This is a man who is simply not doing well. And the last one, look, we had our highest as a result of the discovery of ENI and 10 under John Mahama, and then the production of oil. We had our highest production in 2019 because then we started producing. As we speak now, my brother, our oil production has been reduced by 34%. All the various major IOCs, that's international oil companies, are relocating Cote d'Ivoire. Since he came, we have not added one drop of oil into our total oil assets. Right, so it tells you clearly that the energy sector has been a mess.
So you're saying that the 2.5 billion His Excellency Mahama has been talking about is a private sector debt.
Yes.
So it means that it's likely to be higher than...
In fact, it is going to be higher because we are looking at the fact that if you just take only the IPPs, they have indicated that is a moving scale. It's between 1.5 and 1.7 billion, around $300 million. I get the point I'm trying to make. And you look at the Jubilee partners, they are also being owed by virtue of the fact that the gas, because of the fact that they have all been frog. Luckily enough, on the 7th of January, the true level of the frog will know, because by that time it would have died, and we'll know the total in the data. So this is just as a result of our encounter with the private sector.
So, finally, before I let you go, what will be your description of the energy sector that the MPP government will be handing over to you? We hear that TAPCO may go off anytime soon, so there's a likely of some level of energy disturbances. Is that a situation?
So that is true. You mean WAPCO? So WAPCO has actually written to this government, indicating to them that on the 20th of January, they are going to shut down their plant, their pipeline for maintenance, and it is going to last for 28 days. What it simply means, when the pipeline operator writes this letter to you, what it simply means is that you must make alternative arrangements. You must buy liquid fuels like light crude oil or diesel to power, because some of our generating plants can run both gas and then crude. If this government has not made arrangements for that, what it simply means is that by the 20th of January, we will have power curtailment as a result of shortage of gas.
Okay. So that was Mr. Edward Bauer, outgoing MP for the Bongo constituency. He is also a member of the Energy and Mines Committee of Parliament. We're still here in Parliament. Let's begin to engage some other key persons who have been also monitoring the whole process and also listening in on the State of the Nation address here in Parliament of the Ghanaian economy that he inherited in 2017, the one that he managed from 2017, averagely 7% pre-COVID. The fact that he's been able to implement the free senior high school policy, which has benefited many more Ghanaians. Mesa about the energy sector. The fact that he inherited incoming government is also talking about a $2.5 billion energy sector debt already. Exactly what's mixing.
Well, if what the incoming government is saying is factual, Akufo-Addo, they churning out. Except that in the coming days we will get to know the details so that we all can determine whether indeed what the current incoming administration is saying is factual or otherwise. But clearly, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa, okay, this year is clear. He inherited a system where the lights were not on. We had slept consistently in darkness for 4 years. The solution of the government, even though there was no generational deficit, the problem that we had encountered over the period of Mr. Mahama's era was largely financial. Okay, some damage to pipelines in Nigeria prevented him from getting gas.
Will you say it was entirely financial?
There was always had excess capacity. Okay, because if you look at our generation capacity and our consumption, look at the graph, you see some element of excess capacity within our mix, the generation mix. Save that because demand was growing, to ensure that consistently over the period going forward, we had sufficient enough generation capacity. So the period maybe the first year, partly to the drafting or overdrafting of Akosombo. 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, no such thing occurred. But we had the deficit in generation. Why? And Mr. Mahama told us that there was a fracture to the pipeline from Nigeria that brought gas. Remember? And that clearly is a fuel problem, for which there were alternatives that if he had the resource, he could buy. But they didn't have the resource. And so they couldn't buy alternative fuel to power the plants. His solution was to add additional capacity, which then increased our problem in terms of the financial bit. And so if you
your government has also added additional capacity.
Where is additional capacity? You have consistently heard them say that even renewing AXA was wrong. But if you look at the demand curve, it was necessary for us to renew AXA so they don't take the plants away and get it back into country in 2027, 2028. Okay? In any event, you had negotiated the better terms. You had cut down significantly the take-or-pay component, such that you had given them not a take-or-pay, but a guaranteed minimum that you were going to buy at every point in time. Okay? And within the plan, that was something that was worthwhile. Okay? And then looking forward, obviously because the demand is increasing, the excess capacity component has been reducing on a year-by-year basis. But by and large, apart from the incidents that we experienced sometime this year, which was attributable to shortage of gas in some instances and maintenance of the existing plants, the Akufo-Addo government has largely...
Of energy sector are you handing over to the incoming government? Already, we hear NAPCO is going to go off. WAPCO is going to go off anytime soon.
Why is WAPCO going to go off?
I mean, they've said notice.
They said no, that we haven't seen the notice, but if they go, that globally, Ghana is a lot of a lot of investment has gone in there. His Excellency the President, under his leadership, has developed some tourism infrastructure, the tourism infrastructure, the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, the National Museum, some fund in Nkrumah Memorial Park, the National Museum. Some funds have been allocated for the restoration of our forts and castles, slave camps.